My daughter, my son, have you ever been in a season where God hasn't really given you a clear answer? You know, He's giving you an answer, but it's not really the one you want. God didn't say yes, He didn't say no. He actually said, wait. If you clicked on this video, you're at the right place at the right time because you're wondering, what does it mean when God says wait? Okay? My name is Samar. If you're here for the first time, this is Healed Woman. We're a growing, thriving community of kings and queens on fire for the one true king. And this year, this month, this season, we are just doing channeled message. Whatever is coming through, we are just speaking forth, okay? So if you clicked on this video, something about the thumbnail, the title, what have you, resonated with you and called out to you, and God said, that's the one. Click on it and watch it and glean from it, okay? So if you're in a season where where you've been praying and crying out to God, and He has not necessarily said yes or no, but you sense that He has said something, more than likely He said wait. And I want to explain to you what that means, okay? First of all, take heart, because when God says wait, He's preparing you for something so much better than you can ever imagine. Take it from me, a girl who has prayed and cried out multiple times for similar prayers, and every time God said, okay, which is, okay, my daughter, wait and see. Like He said, okay, which some people may think is yes, but not necessarily, because when God says yes, it's an immediate movement. When God says no, it's an immediate movement. But when God says okay, when God says wait, it's probably because you're asking for something ahead of when God planned to give it to you. And He's saying, I got you, my daughter. I got you, my son. I'm going to come through for you in a way that you cannot even imagine right now. But you have to wait. And in the waiting, there is always a season of preparation. Okay? So that's why I said take heart, because if God is making you wait, oh my gosh, you're about to receive even more than you could have bargained for, even more than you could have prayed for, even more than you could have imagined, fathomed, created in your head. Okay? God is going to give you more than you ever thought possible, because not because He made you wait, but because you bowed down to the waiting season, but because you bowed down to His higher purpose, His calling, His path for your life. He's going to bless you in ways that you didn't even know were possible when you first asked for whatever it is you're asking for. Okay? So here are some signs for you to identify when God is making you wait and what it means. First of all, there will not be a clear answer. That's the first thing. You knew God answered you, but you didn't really know what He said, because He said, okay. He said, okay, the promise is yours. The manifestation is yours. The abundance is yours. The marriage is yours. The child is yours. The job is yours. He said yes. He said yes, but not yet. Okay? He said yes because something better is in store. Something better is on the way. Something better is in the works. And there requires, in order for you to get the better, in order for you to get the higher, in order for you to get what God has for you, there's a process attached to that manifestation. Okay? So the reason why God is making you wait is because He's preparing you to receive what you asked for in a way that you could not have orchestrated on your own. Come on, Holy Spirit. He's preparing the version of you that is equipped to handle the promise at the time that He releases it. Okay? So there's a reason why. That's why I said take heart, because your life is about to blossom and bloom in ways you could not have even imagined, simply because you bowed down and waited and allowed the Holy Spirit to process you, to prepare you, to get you in alignment, to put you in an assignment, okay, to prune you, to get you in position to receive what you prayed for years ago, months ago, okay? So think about people that pray for things that require a process attached to it, like a marriage or a family or, a specific position in life or abundance or wealth. Those things take time to obtain, to acquire, and they don't necessarily have to. As we see, there are many worldly examples of marriages and families that come together very quickly, but as quickly as they come together, okay, they fall apart. And so there's a reason why God matures spirits over the period of time, because the process that it requires for you to get that manifestation, you become a whole new version of yourself to appreciate the blessing that God is bestowing upon you. So when God says wait, He has better for you. Take heart in that. When God has told you wait, He has answered your prayer, but He's about to manifest it in a way that you can't even see right now. Okay? And that's the best part. He's going to blow your mind. However, your promise is about to manifest is absolutely going to blow your mind in a way that only God could have done. So take heart, get excited, get in alignment, get on your assignment, because God is about to blow your mind. He's going to rock your world. Okay. Another sign that God has said maybe. You're probably praying for something bigger than you've ever prayed for before. You're not just praying, to pass a test or to get into a certain university or, to have better relationships in your life, which is a pretty big thing. But you're not just praying for something simple or finite or tangible. You're praying for basically change. You're praying for a major change in your life, which means that it's going to require major change on your part. Okay, if you desire a change, if you're praying for something that you've never prayed before, something that you've never had before, it means that you need to become a version of yourself that you've never been, so that you can step into something that you've never owned or that you've never lived before. Okay, so old keys cannot unlock new doors. If God is making you wait, he's saying, I have a new set of keys for you, my daughter, but with, new wineskin, you must be new wine, okay? New wineskin demands that new wine is poured into that vessel, okay? So if you're asking for a family, if you're asking for a husband, if you're praying for a wife, if you are praying for wealth and abundance and financial security, it means that you don't have those things right now. And God has to prepare you and take you to a place where you can hold space, where you can be the version of yourself that can hold those things in a safe, healthy, prosperous way. So if you're praying to become a husband, if you're praying to become a husband to a wife someday, if you're praying for a wife, if you're praying for a spouse, let's just say a spouse, you have to be in a place in your life where you can be a great spouse. God's not going to bless you with something that you would squander. God's not going to bless you with something that you wouldn't be able to handle when you came into the manifestation of it. So if God's making you wait, he's not saying that you're not worthy of it. He's saying you're not ready for it right now. It doesn't mean that you can't receive it at some point. It just means you're not the version of yourself in the moment that you prayed to receive what you prayed for. And that's the beauty of the waiting season. He has said yes, and it just means he's about to prepare you to receive what you've prayed for. Another way that you'll know that God has said okay, or he said wait, whatever you're currently holding on to that's not serving the version of you that you need to become will begin to fall away, okay? So if you're praying for a spouse, God's going to call you out of those situationships that are leading you nowhere. If you're praying to become a wife, God is going to call you away from meaningless relationships with men. If God is calling you to become a husband, he's going to call you out of promiscuity and playing the field and dating around, okay? If God is calling you to, or if you have prayed for a certain opportunity, God's going to begin to teach you the skills that you need in order to align with that opportunity, okay? So God is always going to prepare you, but he's going to require you to leave some things behind so that you can step into the new that you're praying for, okay? One more channeled message, one more sign that God is making you wait. You'll feel it in your spirit. You know that you've prayed earnestly and honestly, and you've asked the Father for something from a wholesome place, and you know that it's bigger than you, which is why you're asking, and you just have to rely on God to give you the answer that you may not want to hear right now, but it's going to serve a higher purpose. And that's why God is saying, wait, my daughter, wait, my son, I got you. I actually have better than what you're praying for. And I'm so glad that you asked me, because it means you're ready to start preparing for what you're asking for. And that's a beautiful place to be, right in the hand of the Father, asking for what he already wanted to give you. It was just a matter of time, my dear. So now that you've come into alignment and you're ready to be on your assignment, God is saying, wait, I actually have more for you.